back to another episode of So Problematic. This is your girl Cece.
NJ.
I can't deal with you. Really?
I was trying to get a little serious for this topic, but
When?
let's redo it. Take 7.
Really? Welcome back to another episode of So Problematic. This is your girl Cece.
NJ.
And we're coming with a serious topic. And
Yes.
we really need to talk about this. We want to talk about parenting.
Disciplining
Parenting skills, different forms of discipline your kids, and what do people think is wrong, what is right, what is your form of disciplining your children. There's different ways, so let's tap into that.
There are definitely different ways. First we're going to go over all the different ways that people do discipline. And then we're going to get into the 10 healthy discipline strategies that actually work. And then we're just going to end it up with, our feelings, basically.
Definitely.
And things that we know works as parents or have worked for us, but also worked on us as we were being raised by our parents.
Definitely.
Before we go on, a huge disclaimer is we are not saying this is how you should raise your child. We're not sitting here saying that the way you might do it is horrible unless you're really abusing your child. Yeah, you need to stop doing that. But we're not sitting here saying, oh, we know it all, we have it all, follow us. And we're not shitting on anybody's form of disciplining. And we're not shitting on our families or our parents because they only did what they felt was best.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're alive, we're thriving, and we love our parents to the death of us. So
definitely.
At the end of the day, that's a huge disclaimer before you guys go into the
no
y'all think y'all.
No, none of that.
Yeah, cut the crap. We're not doing any of that. But This is a topic that does need to be talked about, especially in a day and age where people feel like, they should put their 2 cents into everything you do with your child.
Yeah.
So here we go. You gotta let them hoes know. We ain't got time for that. Look,
I get you.
Don't be in our inbox with that. We ain't saying that, but you're gonna hear what we gotta say though.
Right.
So it's like, come on.
So being raised in a Christian family home, I was raised to basically beat, whoop, spank, whatever term you use. It was definitely to chastise in a form of physical. Like we said, we're not saying that it was wrong, right, whatever, but that's the form that my parents chose to choose to do. So everything that is of today's age basically says that chastising your children with physical is wrong. Everybody's quick to call 911. Everybody's quick to say you're abusing your child. So I want to know, what do you feel about the action of the physical part? Because some kids, how can I say this without sounding? Some kids only know how to listen in that form, if you get what I'm saying. Some kids you can talk to and they listen, and that's enough for them. Yeah. Sometimes you have to spank, tap on the thigh, leg, whatever. That's a form that some kids kind of react to that and listen to that. But what do you think about the physical part? And the only reason why I'm bringing that one up first is because I seen a post on Instagram where this woman was basically saying, oh yeah, I beat my kids. That's the only way that they know how to listen. And I was thinking in the back of my head, well, have you tried any other ways to make sure that was the only way that they listened? Because there are other ways that you can teach kids, like taking things that they enjoy away from them, or putting kids in time out. It might seem like a different way of doing things, but that works for them. Yeah. That it works, setting limitations on certain things and devices, TV, taking stuff like that from them works. So when she said that, I'm in the back of my head, why do we feel like that is only the first option and the only option?
I think they just feel like that because that's the most, like, that's the action that will get you the instant response.
Okay.
Because once you hit a child, that's gonna just shake them up, like automatically say, "Oh my gosh, like you hit me, like you physically hit me. I felt something from what you've done." Words, kids are still learning emotions. For me, I would say that parents who say things like that don't try other options.
That's what I was thinking.
They don't. And when we say try other options, I think what I know is consistency is key with disciplining. My daughter, for example, she's in the 3s. She's in the stage of, Jesus.
No 3?
Jesus.
I know it.
Some days I go to bed like, did all I do today was yell at her? Like, I gotta, like, sometimes I get convicted. Like, did all I do today was yell at her? Because I don't hit her. I don't beat her. She will get a tap. When I say a tap, it's like a, hey, my girl.
Right.
And not a bop. No. I'm more like, hey. And usually when she get them little taps on her little leg, like, hey, what we doing? To wake her up, she'll be like, she doesn't even cry. She'll be like, yes, mommy. Oh, I didn't see it. Or she'll put her iPad down so I'm getting her attention by a little tap on her shoulder or her leg. Like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And I'll even say, hey, my girl, what we doing? But for her discipline is the corner. And people who say, oh, my child don't stay in the corner when I put them, I find that to be so outrageous to me, because you're the parent, that's the freaking child. As in, my daughter, when I first put in the corner, thought I was bullshitting her. She was like, yeah. For the first 3 days of her disciplining with the corner, she was at that corner every time. Every time I shut the corner, I put her back in. The problem with a lot of parents is they got the corner 3 times and they lazy ass. Lack of patience, lazy as shit. Yeah. Don't want to put that child back in there. But here's the thing. What you don't do now, you're going to regret in the future. My daughter learned from them that I am a consistent motherfucker, and I'm going to keep on doing it until you cave and learn. So when she actually sits there, I've also learned that not only was my consistency now working, because I need her to know that when she gets older, when I say something, I'm going to hold her to it and be consistent on it.
Right.
So it's not just simple as putting her in the corner, staying like that. It's also my consistency of putting in her mind that, hey, I'm going to be consistent on your ass unless you learn as what I'm telling you. And I was raised in a Jamaican household where we know island Jamaicans, oh my God, whooping that ass is their method of movement. Whooping that ass. And my dad was never raised with beatings, although he is Jamaican, born and raised, but his family taught him through verbal talking. My mother got some beatings here and there, but she was also through verbal. So I'm blessed that my mom whooped us once in a while, but my dad never beat us.
Right.
So for my daughter, I decided I wasn't going to beat her, and I'm not going to beat her. I don't feel like I need to beat her because she's the child. And as a parent, I learned her method. I've learned that to get under her skin is to take her little tablet away and to go in the corner. And she's a talker like her mama, surprise. So when she's in the corner, I've learned to ignore her crying, ignore her calls for me. If she's okay in the corner, she ain't dying in there. She's sitting in the corner, perfectly fine. Yeah, she's choking up here and there, but because she's choking, because she's crying.
Yeah.
But I have to walk past for 3 minutes, because she's 3, and ignore her. I call her out the corner. I get down to her eye level, and I say, "Do you know why you're in here? You won't.
Exactly.
You won't say this, mommy.
You
won't say this and this, and I need you to." I don't tell my daughter she's bad. I always say, "Are you being kind?
Right?
Are you being generous? Are you being the way that God? God." I tell her, God wants us to be kind and loving. Are you being loving and kind the way God said?
Right.
That's what I do with her, because disciplining is more than just that one action for me. It's me imparting in her, this is what you did, and this is what's going to happen, consequences, because as she becomes an adult, I don't want her thinking that her actions have no consequences.
And I will say that's exactly what my dad did when it came to after the whooping or whatever you want to call it. He definitely sat down and talked and said, this is why I did it. Do you understand why you are getting this discipline, or whatever the case may be? Like, it's a teaching lesson behind it. So I want to ask, do you think that because parents can be very short-tempered nowadays, do they cross the line of just straight whooping or spanking, and they actually do abuse, like physical abuse, and not teachings afterwards, because I know a lot of people that actually grew up saying that, oh, I called 911 with my mom or dad or the kids, you know what I'm saying? And then what's the difference of getting a whooping or spanking, you want to call it, versus abuse?
See, for me, I do think parents, like, we have a lot going on. Like, we are dealing with bills, divorce, whatever relationship, a marriage, you are going through marriage issues, you're going through work issues, bills, you gotta keep the house clean. We are stressed out. And with that sense, do I unleash on my daughter? I do sometimes. I'm like, yo, sit down. Why you can't do this?
Yeah.
And then when I do that and I see her face and I'm realizing, girl, that's why I will go back and be like, Mommy's so sorry. But Mama, I'll say, I'm sorry, Mama, I yelled at you like that. I said, Mommy's like, right now, Mommy's so tired and I need to not do that. I'm sorry. And you'll hear her say, it's okay, Mommy. Yeah. That's okay, Mommy. But I tell her that, like, I'm sorry for unleashing, because yes, I think a lot of parents do beat out of frustration and anger. But what I've learned is to identify your frustration. For example, when my separation just happened, the reason why I moved in with my father was because I was so overwhelmed that I was taking it out on her every day, like constantly yelling at my daughter, constantly going hard on her, like, and I'm like, yo, you're stressed out. This is not good. You're not a good mom.
Is that a form of toxic stress?
Very much so. It was just the fact of learning how to deal with divorce, learning how to deal with more financial burden, not making enough for my living. And then I'm like looking at her like a burden, like, shit, I gotta take care of you too, damn it.
Yeah.
But I told myself
it was a lot.
I moved back in with my dad to ease the burden for financial stress, got a different job, did certain things
to help change your stress
level.
That way you wouldn't take it out on her.
Exactly. So I think parents need to realize their stress level, and there is a form of abuse and spanking. I feel like if you're going to spank the child, go ahead, get it out the way.
Spank it, but make it a teaching lesson.
But don't
overdo it. Like that's what I mean by abuse. Is it taking it to where, like, okay, so you know that your child is small, right? Let's take toddler. You know that only a couple pops will only work. But if you're sitting here and you're going ham on that child physically for over 5 minutes, because now this is a stress release for you, but you're not noticing that you're actually abusing your child. Like,
it hurts, because sometimes
when do you know to separate and not make it abuse?
You know what they say?
Spanking.
You're not even supposed to hit your child. And this is what they were saying, in the heat of the moment. They say you're actually supposed to walk away. Like, in daycare, I used to be a daycare worker, a caregiver at daycare. They taught you that when you feel overwhelmed, to walk away. And I know you're like, my child was small. I used to, when she was a baby, and even now, I used to just walk away. I mean, she's in the living room, I'll go to the room for a little bit.
Or go in the bathroom, like somewhere where you're...
And I remember the psychiatrist, not therapist, I went to a psychiatrist, y'all, for postpartum depression. And she said, you're doing coping skills. You need to do grounding. Grounding means even going outside into the earth and the soil, plant your feet there. You need to take your hand, she taught me, and she was like, circle it out. You need to breathe it out. You need to take a breath and calm down. And I've learned that when I've done that, I was able to say, okay, she's 3. And I had to reason with myself, stop expecting so much from a child that's not their age.
Right? Exactly.
Meaning, I know my daughter's 3. I expect certain things out of her, but I also realize that if she doesn't do it, and when she gets tired, my daughter's like,
and you're her first teacher. Everything. So if you're teaching her, the first thing to do is to spank, then that's the first thing that they're gonna remember to do when it's their time.
And that's the problem with a lot of kids. Yep, they go into schools and they don't communicate. And I remember somebody saying, oh, you're raising her to be soft.
Right.
And I'm like, because she won't fuck somebody up when they say some shit to her? No, okay, I guess I am. I'm not raising my child to be fist fighting and bucking and knucking when I'm teaching her to communicate.
Yeah.
That's the problem with American society with disciplining their kids. They're so quick to hit and just be verbally abusive. You're not teaching your child how to be an adult and to how to communicate properly. My child is 3 and could tell you right now, my mommy hurt my feelings.
Oh, definitely.
Just the other day.
I've heard her say it before.
Yeah, my mommy hurt my feelings. And then me as a parent, why'd I hurt your feelings? She'll say, sometimes it's because you yelled at me and hurt me, and I got to go back and say, why'd I do that? And apologize.
My child told me I gave him a headache.
Oh, Lord. But there's also some time when you got to realize they are kids, because she will even say to me, Mommy, my mommy's always mad at me. I don't know why. And I'm like, first I was like, well, that hurt my heart. Then I said to her, wait a minute. I said, why do you feel that way? She's like, because I don't listen. I said, you don't listen. So she knows that. And I said, why don't you listen? And you know, her 3-year-old self, because I don't want to listen. So that's how I know. And I have to explain to her, Mommy's upset because when you don't listen, you can get hurt. And if you get hurt, I said to her, I'm going to cry. Because you got to get to their level. She's not going to understand I'm going to be hurt and I'm going to cry. She knows what crying is. So I'm teaching her that I am mad because I'm concerned. And these things that she's doing, I'm yelling her, is usually her flipping on the bed, jumping on the couch. And for me, as a mother, I have anxiety where if my child's climbing on a table or a couch, I'm going to yell at that ass to get off, because I'm not going to the hospital in the middle of COVID.
That's a reaction right now that I need you to get
off. Yes. I don't beat her for it, but I will go ahead and snatch her up and put her on the floor and tell her, you're going to bust your head up there. Explain to her why I snatched you. You're going to bust your head and you're going to go to the hospital and you're going to get 3 shots or whatever. And she won't know. Oh, and she might still think I'm the worst mommy. And she'll say it, Mommy yelled at me. Yes, because you're going to hurt yourself.
Right.
And I think it's okay if parents do discipline out of frustration when it comes to safety, but you got to realize that the child doesn't understand that. And I have to learn that myself, that Jaleesa, you see busting of the head, she see fun.
Right.
So even with that, I let her know that my emotion is upset, because you have to know emotions as well.
Yeah.
But I want her to know I'm not going to beat you for it. I need to get down now for it.
And how I know that learned behaviors become something in your adult life is because even like having conversations with aunts and uncles and my dad would be like, oh yeah, my mom used to pick up the chair and throw it at me, or pick up anything that she could get her hands on. Like, I don't know if you ever heard people say that before, but like especially back in the old days, oh, my mama backhand me, pop me in the mouth, and we kind of we make fun of it, and you know, we'll talk about it here and now there, but it's like, also when you think about it, do you ask yourself, was that always okay? Even though it's something that, oh yeah, okay, grandma used to hit my dad in the mouth, pop him in the mouth, grab the spoons in the kitchen, and hangers here and iron cord there, and it's just
wasn't okay.
It wasn't okay.
It really wasn't okay. It wasn't okay. I don't think you should use an object in my book. I mean, I don't feel objects are needed. That's
belts are a big deal. Belts are a big deal, especially in the Black community. I don't know. I can only speak for the Black community, but a lot of people use belts. I've heard switches. Grandma used to make you go get the switch outside.
Do you think that other people should be allowed to beat your child, like grandparents, parents, whatever? In my family, I know when I was younger, my aunt had a problem with anybody hitting her kids. Whereas for me, my brother and my little brother, anybody could have hit us. I mean, not anybody, but grandparents could have hit us.
Yeah.
But when they asked me, with Mackenzie, because I know the kind of child that my child is, I told them, no, I don't want anybody hitting my child.
And what was your reason?
And my reason is because I said to them, I know what works. I don't need 14 million different methods of discipline for one child.
Right.
If I know that speaking to her, taking her tablet, putting her in the corner works, if you're going to watch my child and be caring for my child, you need to be on one accord with me.
Right.
So that way she knows discipline goes across the board everywhere she goes.
Right.
So for her father and me, especially her daddy, do not touch his damn child. He will go ape shit on your ass for touching his baby. He is not with the hitting. He don't got time for nobody even yelling at his child too toughly. Right. But for me,
right? No, for real.
For me, because he doesn't want her growing up with that. Because
you never know who would take it too far.
Exactly. So I told my family, and you know, they never. She's the apple of their freaking eye. So for them, she does no wrong. My child can go ahead and just do all hell break loose. They think that she's an angel, but
it's all your fault.
It's all my girl. But I told them no beatings. I prefer you to put her in that corner, and my grandmother has done that.
Yeah,
has put her in the corner, and my grandma's like, yo, it works. And I said, me as a mother took my time to learn my child. I don't need you beating on my child for no damn reason.
That's the thing that I have a problem with when it comes to discipline. When parents don't understand their child, it becomes an issue, because now it's like, you don't know that all your child needed was a conversation, or all your child needed was a little bit of a timeout session to go think about what they did, and then come back, and you're teaching them to come back and say, I'm sorry, or I know what I did, and talk about it. And I make sure that my kids know that they're sorry for doing something that they knew was wrong. Like you said, your daughter knew that she knew that she did something wrong.
And you'll hear her.
You'll hear her say,
sorry, mommy.
Yeah.
Like she was like, I think it was one time we were on the bed and she kept playing. I said, stop playing, because I was writing something with a pen, and the pen slipped out my hand and it went almost right into my leg. And I looked at her, I was like, Mackenzie. And you hear the deepness of the voice, because she'll hear me with her in the mornings.
Right.
When I give her time to be going give her little emotions. But when she gets overhand with it, I gotta bring in the mom voice, like, no, we are not doing that.
Right.
You are done with that. And we're gonna do that. So she knows that mommy's this, mommy's that. That's essential. But what's also very essential is, train of thought there, with discipline, like you said, giving them time to think.
Yes.
Because sometimes I'll put her in the corner, if I see that she's tired, hungry, or is having a hard time communicating, because she is 3. She talks very well, but she's not the best talker because she's still 3. Yeah. I say, yo, go take a seat over there and think about it. And when you're ready, let me know. Usually when she's screaming and crying and having a tantrum, I tell her that. Go have a seat, girl. I say, go have a seat, sister friend. Just like that. Yeah. And we'll talk about it later. And she'll sit there and come back. I sorry, mommy. Yeah. I'm like, what you sorry for? I was being difficult, and it's stuff like that. You gotta let your child think about it. Or you say, do you want to talk?
Do you let her get her tantrum out?
Oh yeah.
Because I know some people who be like, you better suck it up right now. Like those type of parents where they want you to stop right now. But sometimes I feel like
it depends.
Yeah. It depends where you have to kind of let them have their moment, let them get, because that's them expressing themselves.
They can't control their emotions.
Right.
And I've learned that. And, that's why as a parent, I think parents need to do your freaking research about your child and their age.
Yeah.
I know they'd be like, ain't no book could teach me. A book can teach you some shit. Because with Mackenzie, I was like, yo, she's crazy. And then I've learned the method of walking over her. When she gets on the floor and she'll lay on the floor and be screaming, not kicking her, just staring in the sky screaming. I walk right over her. And I had to teach other people how to deal with her. Yeah. Because my dad used to be like, Mackenzie. And I looked at my mom, and you got to advocate for your kids. I know you're thinking your grandparents and your daddy and know more than you. They don't know more than you when it comes to your damn child. And my family would tell you, I go to bat for my daughter. They used to always be like, no, I used to be like, leave her alone. Yeah. I used to look at them and say, leave her alone. Let her do that. Yeah. Do not come in the way of it. And they in the beginning, they were like,
sometimes you got to let her get that out.
Guess what they've learned? My child's a little Scorpio baby. She's wild as shit. Her thing is, when she gets to a high, she doesn't come down easily. Yeah. But if you interject yourself into her tantrum, you make it worse. So what I've learned is, when she's seeing red in that moment, she's not going to see green until you let her just mellow. When she mellow out, you be like, come here.
Ain't gonna lie. In public though, I just be like,
in public, I just pick her up and put her over my shoulder and be carrying her out to the car, and I be like,
you better suck it up till we get outside.
Yeah, when we get in that car, I'm the parent that lets their child to scream it out. I be acting like I don't hear shit.
Everybody looking at you crazy
all day, and I be looking at them too, like, you had a child, so you know what this shit's like. So leave me the fuck alone.
Listen, and I just this ain't the first time a child gonna do this, and this ain't gonna be the last.
Because guess what I'm teaching her? I don't care where the hell we at. It doesn't matter to me. You're gonna get your little situation now. When we get in the car, I get my little conversation going. Yeah. Mama, that wasn't nice. And I tell her, you hurt mommy's feelings. Because kids have to understand their actions do hurt their parents. Yep. And that's what they don't get when you beating on the damn kids. Yeah. I'm passionate about this shit. Because let me tell you something. I teach my child, I said, that hurt my feelings. That's where she got that shit from with me. You hurt my feelings. I tell her, you hurt my feelings. I said, she says, why? I said, because when you are not being nice to mommy and saying no and you don't want to hear me, that hurts my feelings, because it makes you feel like you don't care about mommy. Right. And then that's when she'll say, I'm sorry, mommy. I didn't mean to. And, you know, after that, you get a little cuddle, a little kiss, but you gotta teach them. And parents don't really do that. They hit them.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's it.
Because you're frustrated as an adult. Your kids don't know. Well, I'm gonna say younger kids don't know better yet. So you have to learn how to have patience with them, communicate with them, talk to them, let them express themselves. And it's okay to let your kids know that, listen, mommy's frustrated right now.
Yeah.
Mommy's tired.
Yeah.
Mommy can't deal with this right now. Can you give mommy a moment first?
Yes. Now with you have 2 kids. So for you, it's like, do you feel like both of them, like you have different discipline styles for both of them?
Definitely.
And how did you figure that out? Like, was it trial and error with the second one?
It was definitely trial and error with the first one, I would say, because he was the first. I was a teen mom. And like I said before, I was taught to spank and whoop and whatever. So I honestly, telling on myself, did it in the beginning.
Who don't? People be popping a little bit here and there.
I did it in the beginning. I realized that I felt like I was hurting him. So I stopped.
Okay.
I completely stopped. And I was just like, this can't be it. I can't do this. So I would start having conversations with him. And I would definitely start taking things away because, you know, this new generation is all about TV, video games, cell phones, whatever the case may be. So as he got older, I would start taking certain things away or having conversations and putting him in timeout in his room with his thoughts and just be like, I'll come back in a couple minutes and we'll talk about it. And for me, I noticed that it started working for him because he was more sensitive to the conversations. He would react more with the conversations than just straight whooping. Because the whooping was like, I felt like he was in a fearful mode. Like
fear.
He feared. And you don't want your kids to fear you. I mean, not in that aspect, you know what I mean? You want them to fear you as you being serious, but you don't want them to fear you like when they come in the room and you raise your voice and then they flinch, like no. So that's when I realized like, oh no, I can't do this. So definitely changed that, went to communicating, talking, and letting him express himself and emotions. And then for me, that started working. So when the second one came about, it was just taking some devices here and there, talking to him, giving him his moment, giving him his minute because he would catch more tantrums and stuff like that. So you kind of got to know each child because each child is different. Each child has different characters to them. And just knowing that, like you said, knowing that child, knowing what they react to.
Gotcha.
That's it.
Gotcha.
I learned from my mistakes of the first one and decided to say, no, I can't do it that way. It didn't work for me no more. I noticed like it was hurting me more so than me trying to hurt him.
It really does.
I was just like, oh no.
You know your parents used to say that. Yeah, your parents be like, it hurts me more than it hurts you. And I was like, nuh-uh.
Right, because you think that you're getting a physical abuse to you and you're like, no.
Yeah. But as a parent now, it's like, even like, you know, I know this is her toddler stage, so I know this is the difficult stage. I know this is the stage of a lot of talking, a lot of disciplining, because this is when they're finding their voice, they're finding their whole So I also got to remind myself that, yes, this is going to be the more of the disciplining, because sometimes like I have the guilt of, I swear all I did today was discipline this child. Like I feel like that's all I freaking did today. But I got to remember that she is at the stage of disciplining because she doesn't even know, sometimes she doesn't know like walking in the street is dangerous, going by that little river is dangerous. And as a parent, I had to realize that I discipline out of fear, meaning I'm scared because I'm playing these scenarios in my head that she's gonna fall in the lake, she's gonna fall down the stairs, she's gonna fall on the road. And I have to
make it into a teaching moment.
Yes.
Sometimes.
So I had to realize that, you know, some parents do discipline out of fear, but we have to express that to them. Like, listen, the reason why I say you can't go out tonight is because these people driving you are young. I don't know where you're going. And when they do these certain things and you do discipline, you gotta explain to them like, hey, my mom, how I've got to be so blunt and with the whole vocal and speaking is, my mom felt like she didn't have a voice when she was being raised. Because of the fact that in the old Jamaican household, my grandparents, it was, you don't talk too much. You just need to hear what I say and be gone. Yeah. So my mom decided that when she had her own kids, she was never going to be like that. Yeah. And so I would usually be in front of my mom's face going off, whether it was about something at school or friend, church, whatever. even with her and my father, I mean, not cussing going off, of course, but
Right.
just going off.
Just going off.
And then she would look at me and be like, I hear you. And then she would say to me, what you're saying got some points to it, but it's how you're saying it. And my mom always said to me, I let you always have a voice. People, I was grounded for 6 months one time for doing some stupid shit. Not even worth it.
6 months?
Girl, just because I came home like an hour later than I need to. And 6 months, and I went in there with a PowerPoint presentation cussing her and my daddy out about where I'm grounded.
Wow.
And they looked at me and they were like, okay, well, we appreciate your presentation. They sat there and watched it. They lessened it by 2 months to 4 months. And then they were like, now we're going to let you know what you said had points, but how you're saying it aggressively is not going to work for us.
Right.
So you need to tone it down a little bit. That's what I'm saying. So with Mackenzie, I need her to have that voice. My mom always taught me, let the child have a voice.
Let them have a voice.
Listen to what it's saying.
Yeah.
Even if they get aggressive with you, as in like they're getting loud with you, just let them know, hey, you gotta tone it down. My mom said people are not gonna hear what you gotta say over your loudness.
Right.
But my bluntness came from my mama. So if she watching this, it's because you, homegirl. That's why I'm like this. But she always taught me, be heard, but make sure who's hearing you can hear you, the words you're saying, and not your emotions. And don't let other things distract them from what you're saying. Don't be yelling. Don't be cussing at them.
Right.
Get your point out in a reasonable manner. Yes. And that's what you got to teach your children, how to communicate, or else we're going to always have violence and bullshit because all they're going to know is violence.
It's violence. And that, to me, that's a form of violence if you're not communicating as to why you're doing it or why you had to take that route. Communication. You got to feel their emotions. Talk to them about their emotions. Why do they think it's wrong? Do they know it's wrong? Those conversations have to be had before you even discipline or, you know what I'm saying, get to that extreme level of physical if you feel like you have to do the physical route.
Yes.
But to show some healthy discipline acts, I think that the number one for me is communication. Setting limits is one.
You gotta set your limits because they're not gonna know. If you don't give your child boundaries, then how the hell are they gonna know when they're breaking
Exactly.
anything? Like my mom for us was no phone after 9 o'clock at night. If you're going outside, you gotta come back in by 5 o'clock. Her thing was, if you're going out with your home, your friend, I gotta know who, what, where, when, why you gonna be going out there. And if you tried
it, and if you didn't listen to that,
they used to always bust out with, well, we told you this is what we wanted from you, Jaleesa.
Right,
it was
and
like,
you didn't follow. So now there's 2 weeks to 3 weeks of no going out with your friends, or there's no phone privileges, or whatever the case may be. Like, you just got to set those limits, because once you set those limits, those kids got to abide by those guidelines, those rules that you set. And if they don't follow, they know that consequences are going to come after.
And you know what? Given the consequences also when you're setting limits. Like I remember Mama told me one time, she was like, now if you're on your phone at 9 o'clock, I'm taking that phone for 2 weeks. And that let me know, okay, well, I already know what's going to happen if I do this. That's getting them ahead of time. From Mackenzie, I'd be like, listen, if you jump on that couch, you're going in timeout. Or I'd be like, you're going to get popped. And I never do pop this child, but I be always saying pop them. And the poor child looking at me like, he ain't never did that crap yet. You never did that crap yet. I've been 3 years on, you never popped me yet. But or I will say to her, yo, hey, if you don't do this, then we are not going to Chuck E. Cheese. We are not going here.
And she standing on your ground.
Yup, stand your ground.
Stand your ground. When you give those consequences, if your child doesn't follow, don't react to that moment. No, follow through with those consequences
right then and there.
And said that you were going to either do this or do that. Go back to that, because that's what they remember. They didn't choose to listen, but that's what they remember. And definitely, I would say another good one is to hear them out. When kids need to express themselves, their feelings, their emotions, kids are going to tell you that they feel like you hurt their feelings. Hear them out. Don't automatically just react to it. Actually hear them out and say, okay, I hear what you're saying, but you can also explain to them why you said that, why you felt that way, because kids have to understand you too. But don't shut them down and tell them to shut up. That's another form of, don't tell them to shut up and you don't want to hear it and all this other stuff. Sometimes you need to listen to them so that they can tell you this is why they probably did what they did. That way you can understand them, and then that's where y'all learn communication. You're communicating with your child. So, and definitely,
I would say showing them not just saying it.
Yeah.
Like definitely. You gotta also show them as well, like right behaviors. And another one that I really do love is catching them when they're doing something good. Like, sometimes a child will feel like you're just saying no, or saying, what are you doing? You're not listening. So many times when I do something good, like for example, mine, she loves to help me with laundry, y'all. She's at that stage of helping.
Yeah.
Yo.
Listen, I miss that stage.
I have to calm down who I am as a person to let her help me. Because her sweeping should be everywhere when she's sweeping.
I know. It seems like they make it more of a mess.
Yo, I tell you,
I remember that.
Yo, she be making the biggest messes helping me clean.
Yeah.
When it comes to folding laundry, I swear I'm folding laundry 15 damn times.
Listen, it got so bad.
Girl.
It got so bad. I had to buy a broom, a vacuum, a mop. The cute little ones for them, and then it's just like, what are you doing? Like everything that I just sweep up in the thing.
Yes, they're putting it. Washing my car.
Washing your car. They put soap back on the car. Where you just rinse it off the car.
Oh my God! My mom used to
putting dirty dishes in the dishwasher when you ain't rinsed it off yet.
Let me tell you,
I was like,
I did laundry, and this child took like 13 freaking million pieces of clothes and put in a dirty hamper, thinking they're dirty. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, don't react. So I just said to her, Mama, those are clean though. She's like, oh. Took them back out. And I've learned her strengths are matching the socks. So
you gave her all the socks.
What? Yeah. Load that ass up with socks. Definitely. I put them in 2 piles, her socks, my socks. And that way I'm folding my damn clothes fast.
Yep.
And I've learned to let her do her part with the detergent. Pour the detergent and press that little button.
Right.
And then washing dishes be the worst.
I know. Trust me. Listen, I had a point where I was like, just don't worry about the dishes. I got the dishes.
And they so eager to help you. They so cute with it. Like her little face be so cute with it. I help you, mommy.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, okay. But it's me learning that, okay, you gotta let them.
You gotta let them
do it.
Yeah.
And even if I'm like, oh, you know what?
But you catching them doing something good.
Yes.
You're acknowledging it.
I'm like,
saying, wow,
you
did a good job.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Mama.
Yeah.
That's my voice right there, y'all.
I cannot.
Mama, baby, my baby. And you go, it's mommy mode, y'all.
I cannot.
I know to us it's like the hell, but to her it's like, oh, you should see her little face. She'd be like,
yeah.
And it's letting her know that I see you, girl. Or I'll say, I see you, friend. I see you, friend.
Yeah, she be saying that too.
I see you, friend. I see you, friend. And she be,
I can't.
Because, you gotta let them know that I'm not just going to be on you when you're doing something that's not right. I'm going to also be here to encourage you. Let you know when you're doing good. Because who wants to be told
all the time that you're doing something wrong?
Yeah.
Just like, because I got 2 different age groups, like, my oldest, I let him know, like, when I see your grades doing good, I'm acknowledging you. I'm giving like little rewards here and there to let you know I see you, you're doing good. Thank you for doing your chores around the house before you hop on the video games and stuff like that. It's just like, okay, I just randomly go upstairs, sit in the room while he's playing video games to give him that time to say, Mommy sees you, you're enjoying your game, you're doing good. This is like, it's just certain things that the kids can see that you acknowledging them for being good, on when it's time to be good.
Very true.
So,
and what I also love is, and I know people be like, what in the world? 2 things: being prepared for trouble.
Oh Lord.
And knowing when to call a timeout.
Yeah.
Prime example, and I love these 2. I think I do these all the freaking time at this point in my life because that's the stage I'm in right now.
Yeah.
One is calling a timeout is when for me, I'll say to her, listen, what you're doing is going to get you a timeout. It's you saying ahead of time, listen, what you're doing right now, you're going to get in trouble for it. You will go to timeout. Or calling a timeout is for me is also when I'll say, right now you're tired. Let's go lay down and just relax, read a book. It's kind of like at that moment you see the child escalating. After a while, your child escalating on some shit.
Oh yeah.
And you'd be like, all right, you're getting overwhelmed and you feel yourself getting overwhelmed. I'd be like, time out. I stop what I'm doing. I drag her a little behind up with me. We go to the bed, we lay down, or we go for a walk, which tunes us to, it redirects us in a way to say, okay, Let's get out of that situation.
I was gonna say redirect, yeah.
For us to say, all right, let's get out of that part right there. And sometimes I'm prepared for the trouble, because sometimes y'all damn well know your child is tired, hungry, frustrated, or you know your child's having a difficult, they're in a difficult situation in their life.
Yeah.
Whether it's parents separating or school problems or not getting a certain grade on schoolwork. If you see that with your child, learn to know when to respond and be prepared for the trouble.
Yeah.
Saying, I see you having a problem at school. I see this is going on. I see my daughter working her little ass up because she's tired. So what I will do, I'm prepared for it. I'll be like, I do this, so you know she's gonna be acting up. You see the yawn, you see the rubbing,
you see the tantrum coming.
So what I will
whining, you know the signs, because when your kids start having a little whine,
they
whine about every little thing.
My skin hurts, my blood. Cool.
It's kind of like you already know it's coming. You know,
usually that's when I'll tell her, close your eyes, or I'll put on her little music in the car. Let's get happy.
Right.
It redirects her to something else. Or my favorite, because I have a 3-year-old, I get a little ice pop out that bitch. I give her an ice pop. She's licking on the ice pop, and guess what? It's cooling her down. Now she's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna relax a little bit. I'm gonna take my time out, and then that's when she'll say, "Mommy, can we lay down?" You gotta know like these signs. You always can't just be bad, like a bad situation in a discipline.
Yeah.
Sometimes as a parent, it's your job to redirect it. No one is coming in prepared for us. You don't get worked up, but also no one to say time out. If you and your child, like a teenager, is talking and you see they're getting worked up in the conversation with you, you are the parent. You got to be the one to say, all right, calm down. You know, Jana, you're getting a little loud with mommy, and I'm not having that.
Right.
So why don't you go to your room to relax a little bit, and I'll come in there and talk to you in a minute, okay? Give mommy a minute. You're teaching them boundaries, how to say, listen, people are going to need minutes in their lives.
Yeah.
Mommy's a minute, and mommy's human. Teach your kids that you're human. My mom did that with me. She was like, I'm a human being, Jaleesa. I do need my time. Yeah. And I used to be like, oh, okay. Yeah, shoot, you really are. Kids don't see us as human beings.
Exactly.
We are the money, the food, and just the go-to to unleash all of our emotions on, because you're mommy and your daddy.
That's all they know, and unless you teach them differently.
Very true.
Like I said in the beginning of this episode, you are their first teacher.
You're everything.
You're everything to them. So when you teach them that discipline, the way that you're doing it is okay for them, that's what they're going to understand. That's what they're going to know. That's what they're going to carry with them into their adulthood. So how you respond to them, how do you communicate with them, how you react to them is very important. So get to have patience with yourself and patience with your child, and know that this is how you either have to do it, learn to do it, grow with them. Very important to grow with your child. Because over the years, I would say definitely for my oldest, as I learned that spanking and whooping was not a form for him or me, we grew together to know that communication worked better for him.
I was about to get into that, and I was going to say, if that is your form of whoopings or ignoring your child or being verbally abusive, then it's okay. We all freaked up. Like, I sometimes do still yell.
I'm being honest.
We still, everybody still does. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I don't yell at my daughter sometimes. I do. Yeah. But it's for me to go back and sit there and say, oh, that was too righteous. Let me try next week. Usually like a Saturday, I'm like, you know what's more important? Let's try to do more. And you gotta know what you did in your past is not bad, and if you fuck up again here and there, it is what it is. Right. But just you gotta take accountability and say, you know what? Let me start working on these things, or let me apologize if I do these things. Be more, aware of it. Be aware of it. It's okay, and you're not a bad parent, because I'll tell you right now.
No, nobody's a bad parent. No, you just have to learn from the challenges that you face when it comes to parenting. Learning and growing with the kids. That's all I said.
That's what I said too. And breaking those childhood
traumas.
Not just traumas, but what they call it. Dang it.
Childhood what?
The cycles.
Cycles, definitely.
Breaking those cycles. Yeah. Those cycles from your childhood, and really just saying, hey, I want to be the best parent for my child. Being the best parent is teaching your child how to communicate.
Definitely.
And how to handle situations better and in a more positive light. And I feel like in a Black community, especially, if we teach our kids how to communicate properly and how to handle situations properly, we can have less of these killings and less of these certain things between each other and outside each other, because that way we're teaching them how to be more aware of what they're saying, how they carry themselves, who they're around, and how they communicate.
Definitely.
Period.
And on that note, we want to find out, what do you think about different forms of discipline, children, your children? Like, we don't need to know exactly how you discipline, but what do you think about the form of discipline when it comes to physical or communication or timeout and stuff like that? Like, what is your best approach, and what do you think is?
That's what I was gonna say. I want to know how do you discipline your child?
Well, I guess so. I guess we're asking, how do you discipline your child, and do you think that is the best form for you, or have you tried other forms that just did not work?
Yeah.
And that's why you chose that form of discipline. So, I agree. Yeah. So on that note, until our next episode, bye.